Hey guys, it's Laura, and as of today, I have completed 7 weeks of my modified 75 hard challenge. I hope you're enjoying the mood lighting today. It's about to storm outside, so it's very cloudy and much darker in here than usual. I think that this is going to be a pretty short video. I don't really have too much to talk about this week, but before I get started with talking about the 7th week of 75 Hard, I'll just do a quick recap. 75 Hard is a challenge created by Andy Frisella. Participants have to complete 5 tasks every day for 75 days. If they don't do any of the tasks on any of the days for any reason, they have to restart the entire challenge. These tasks are taking a progress photo every day, drinking a gallon of water, reading 10 pages of a nonfiction self-help book, doing 2 workouts a day, both of which have to be 45 minutes and one of which has to be outside, and finally, making a diet, sticking to it with no alcohol and no cheat days. As you know, I've made one modification to the challenge. I am drinking 90 ounces of water as opposed to a gallon of water. So right now, the honest truth is that I'm feeling very mentally done with this challenge. Today is day 50, which means that I'm 2/3 of the way through the challenge. And I really feel like the first 3 or 4 weeks of this challenge, I was excited. There was an element of novelty, and I had a lot of momentum to motivate myself to continue working towards the challenge. The last couple of weeks, gradually, I have completely lost any of my excitement for the challenge, and I'm really struggling to see it as anything positive. I'm just really seeing it as a hindrance to other aspects of my life, and something that's really annoying and something that's screwing up my schedule and detracting my focus away from other aspects of my life. I think that these negative feelings were especially pronounced this week because I found it very difficult to complete the tasks this week. I was training for work at a new location, which is an hour away from home, one way. So I was spending a lot of time in transit this week and not able to work towards the challenge, so I was losing a lot of free time. Most days I could not complete a workout in the morning or midway through the day. So I was doing both of my exercises at night, and I would have to still space them apart. So I would be doing one exercise around like 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and I would do the other exercise at like 10. I don't like working out at 10. I don't feel like I'm motivated to get a lot out of my workouts. I'm tired. And then if you're exercising at 10, you're not going to bed until like 11:30, 12, and then you're getting up early so you don't have adequate time to sleep. It's just, it's a mess. And it's like, if I wasn't doing this challenge, I wouldn't be pushing myself so hard. Like in my head, I feel like the monologue that I've been having is, you know, I came, I saw, I conquered, I've seen progress, I set out to see some changes, I've seen those changes. Why am I still doing this challenge? And in saying that, I do still want to complete the full challenge. I don't intend to stop doing the 75 hard challenge. I want to see this challenge through to the end, but it's really hard not to be a little bit resentful at myself for ever starting this challenge in the first place. I think that this is like a little bit of, you know, a different video in terms of like my mood. I'm clearly like, I don't know if it's like jarring as a viewer to watch this video in contrast with the other videos that I've made throughout the challenge, because I feel like when I make these update videos, my energy is always like super high, and I've been like, you know, very consistently just wanting to progress forward, and this week I'm just not feeling it. I think a video like this is important in the interest of being honest and being transparent. I've seen a lot of 75 hard videos, and the people in them are usually very happy and very motivated, and I'm not saying that they're lying in their videos, but I also think it's important to acknowledge that this is like a very difficult challenge to do. This coming week and in the next few weeks, I'm going to be going back to a hybrid work schedule where I don't have to go working an hour away every day in person. So I'm hoping that that will have a positive impact on my mood and my motivation towards this challenge. But right now, I'm honestly just very concerned that if I'm feeling this way on day 50, how am I supposed to get through the last 25 days of this challenge? The hardest thing really has been the 2 45-minute workouts, because you have to structure your day to some extent around those workouts and getting those workouts done. Like everything else, like reading 10 pages of a book, that takes maximum like 20 minutes, you know what I mean? Drinking the water, you just do that gradually through the day, or even if you have to like drink a lot of water at the end of the night, like you just kind of have to suck it up and do it. But the workouts, it's a time commitment, and you need to carve out time in your day to do that. So from a time management perspective, those workouts are difficult. I would say this week the workouts were like the most difficult task for me. Usually I've said that the water is the most difficult task, but this week by far it was these workouts. I'm sorry if the perspective just randomly changed on the camera. I just dropped something, picked it up, and like nudged the tripod, so I'm sure that the perspective completely changed, but we're just going to ignore that. In terms of the tasks this week in particular, there's none that I really want to go into depth about. Like, I think it's enough just to say, I've done the tasks. The one task that I'll talk about is the reading task, because I actually did start reading a new book this week. I finished Body Neutral by Jessie Neeland, and I started a new book, What I Talk About When I Talk About Running by Haruki Murakami. And I've actually never read any of Murakami's fiction. I own a copy of Norwegian Wood, but I haven't read it. But I have also heard good things about this memoir. So I wanted to check it out as my next book in the 75 Hard Challenge. And I will also just note that there's kind of like a gray area with the reading challenge about reading memoirs. Like I've talked about in other videos, the general rule for the 75 Hard Challenge is that the book that you read for the reading task has to be nonfiction and generally self-help. So memoirs aren't, they don't typically fall into that category. But I think the general rule with 75 Hard is that as long as you're reading something nonfiction and something that's supposed to teach you something or assist with your self-development, it counts for the challenge. So for the purposes of this challenge, I think that this book is something that works for me and fits into my goals for this challenge. Haruki Murakami is obviously a writer, and Murakami is also someone who is quite skilled at running and has run a number of marathons throughout his life. And in this book, he talks about the lessons that he's learned throughout running and throughout writing. And I think as somebody who has prospects of writing, but also in fitness, I think that this was like a good book for me to read. And I'm currently on page 50, so it's been, 3 or 4 days of reading it. It hasn't been too long, but I'm already, making my way through this book pretty quickly. I'm liking it. I will say that. I'm really liking it. And it makes me excited to actually pick up his fiction later on once I'm finished 75 Hard. One thing that I will say is that this book is actually only about 180 pages, and as I said, I'm already on page 50. So if I complete 75 Hard, this book is not going to carry me through the rest of the challenge. I'm going to need another book. So I'm actually considering the next book that I'm going to read. I'm thinking about reading Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott, which is a book about writing. I also have a couple of Brene Brown books. So I have some selection to choose from. Anyway, I know that this video was like probably shorter than usual and like much more low energy than usual. But I do hope that you enjoyed watching, and I'm really hoping that I can continue persisting with this challenge. And I'm really hoping that I will have a more positive update for you next week. But that is all that I had to say for today. I hope that you take care, and I will see you next week. Bye.